Hello, my name is Brian, this is Football Manager 22, and we're back in Salisbury, and you'll never guess what this screen is. Yes, our beloved Club Vision screen. Everything is coming up, Brian, today. We have good club culture. We have a 5-year plan that we are on target for. We have reached the second knockout round of the Europa League. We have probably secured a mid-table finish in the Premier League. We made the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. We don't care about the Youth Cup. And we have reached the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So, all is complete, and we've signed a new contract. So, huzzah. We did come over the winter transfer window, and that did force a move on our front. Because, unfortunately for us, Barcelona came in and triggered the release clause on Juan. It was a sad day, but they more than doubled his salary, so I get why he chose to move. He's already played 8 games for Barca. Apparently, we just weren't respecting Juan enough. I mean, we probably should have more. He was posting a 7.71. That's good. But $55 million isn't nothing, so at least that was all right. And we'd paid 21.5 for him, so it made a bit of a profit, though we sent about 5 or 6 of that to Bournemouth. And obviously we had to pay my salary for those 3 years. And that was going to leave a gap in the team, so I decided to spend basically that much money, and given that we sent some of the Juan money to Bournemouth, and I think actually a small portion to his Brazilian side, we dipped down to a championship team and signed Kevin Moss away from Crystal Palace. So we actually have an Englishman on the side again. Starting side. He is a right winger. He was 21 when we signed him. He's just turned 22 recently. In February. As you can see, very good acceleration and agility, very good dribbling and heading. Lots of good numbers everywhere else. 3.5 stars as an inverted winger on the right. He's footed. He can play on the left. I wish I could track down exactly where his footedness lies. I know where I could eventually look it up. The one downside is I am paying him a lot of money, $9.1 million. He was being very finicky. He was, I think, hoping to sign with West Ham instead of us, and so held us to the fire on that front. I think he'll be worth it. He's just 22. He is English, so he'll help for Europa League registration. And I think he looks like he's a very good player. He's posting a 7.28 for us in 6 games already, 3 assists. So he's adapting well. He'd been posting a 7.21 for Palace in the championship. He played for Palace as a regular starter in the Premier League the year before. Didn't have a great rating, but that's going to happen on a team that gets relegated. So that ate basically all the Juan money. We unfortunately have hit a run of injury issues. It's not really shown here, though you can see over on the right, Maric and Nusa have just returned from injury. And Petkov is still out with injury. So having lost Maric and Petkov at the same time, we still did have 2 right backs, kind of. We can play Capoon there. We can play Ngankum there. But Ngankum's naturally left-footed. Capoon is much more a center back than a right back. He lacks offensive skill. So I thought... And just, if Capoon's playing right back, then he's not playing center back. And that means we only have Torres and Hurleman at center back. So we needed to bring in reinforcements. So we canceled the loan of Marco Torres from Barnsley and brought him in to the main club. Where is Marco? Up here, Marcos. He'd been doing great at Barnsley. He posted a 7.19. Barnsley is leading. Oh, no, they've told them the 3rd in the championship. Perhaps because we took their striker away. Or, excuse me, their center back away, though. We pulled him probably about here. So, yeah, maybe a little. they're certainly not going to get better without having Marcos Torres, but, what can they do? We want him back because he started 6 times for us. He scored a goal, has an assist. His stats keep improving. He was just 20 years old, perfectionist. Still lists as a fullback. He's not a fullback. He doesn't have technical skills. He's 6'7". He's a center back. So things have gone pretty damn well. As you can see from this, the EPL standings, we have climbed up to second, passing Chelsea, and are 4 points back of Man City with 8 to play. So we have a chance to win the EPL. It'll require some luck, and I think we have a game with Man City left, so we'll definitely need to win that. But it's possible, and we're in very good shape to make the Champions League next year, even regardless of the result here. So let's take it back and look how we got here. Our last game was I believe it was this win over Dynamo. We proceeded to beat Bristol City. We beat Man City at home, so I guess that means our remaining Man City game will be on the road. Yick. We beat Wolves at home. We drew with Leal, not Lille. Thank you for correcting me, James. You jerk. I'm going to anglicize / Americanize the hell out of that name, and you can't stop me. Aston Villa win, Chelsea a win. Disappointing loss to Tottenham, but they're a top 5 team, and it was on the road. I can live with that. Everton draw at home. Man United road draw. United's down in the standings a little bit compared to usual, but it was a little disappointing. We beat Charleston in the third round of the FA Cup. We ran off 4 straight more wins against a bunch of okay sides, not bad sides, not good sides, including 5-1 and 5-0 wins, as well as 2-1 and 3-2 kind of squeakers. We won our 4th round match against Brighton. This year the FA Cup finally lined up. Charlton and Brighton are both championship sides, and our 5th round opponent Coventry was actually the League One side that was left, so we beat them 3-1. We beat Bournemouth and Tottenham 2-0, both at home. We drew Chelsea here on the road 1-1. I can live with that. It takes us to this unfortunate game, our first game of the Europa League second stage round. Road trip to Napoli, which we lost 0-1. Given this huge run of form, we felt pretty out of control. Like, even Chelsea on the road, who's now in 3rd place, I felt like we had more control in that game than we did against Napoli. They got a ton of crosses, I think, and not crosses, corners, and eventually in the 83rd minute they converted one of them. So just a disappointing result. You can see Garcia had a 6.2, Moss had a 6.3, Terzi had a 6.4. That's one of our attacking center mids and our 2 wingers. They just did not have good performances. We did bounce back with this win over Wolves 3-2. We probably wouldn't have given up 2 if I wasn't playing Messon. I'd forgotten to play Messon in the game against Coventry, which would be the perfect game to play him as the cup goalie. I'd made heavy rotation for that game, but yeah. So we made up for it by playing Wolves, who are in the 20th right now, even though it's a road game. So I was like, worst team in the league. So Messon might have let in a goal he didn't need to let in, but Marin scored 2 and McAvoy scored 1 to give us the win and keep us highly placed. So we have the home game against Napoli here. Pekov's out, but that otherwise we will starting everyone we want. Then we go to Fulham for a FA Cup quarterfinal, and if we win either or both of those, we'll have more of those games sprinkled throughout the rest of the schedule. And in terms of Premier schedule, home game against Bristol City, they're in 19th. Road trip to Norwich, they're in 7th. Home game against Brentford, they're in 18th. So that is 6 points right there and there, hopefully. Road trip to Norwich, we'll say 1 point. We'll take the draw. Man City on road, we would love to ambush them and steal a point. Road trip to Liverpool will be difficult. Home game with Newcastle, that should be a win. A mid-table team. Road trip to Southampton could be a little difficult. Home game against West Ham with nothing to play for, should be an easy win. So that's how things are looking. One thing I do want to try and cover is something that just happened a couple of days ago. Yes, we actually had our youth intake, and between our last video and this video, we had the youth intake preview, and it was like possible golden generation, which is not something I ever have happen because, you know, I'm Salisbury. It takes me so long to get here. And it's not a golden generation, but there's some interesting players. Capped by the two Tobys. So it's now a downgrade to 3.5 good intake. But Toby 2's up top here. 1.5 star potential already at 16. I have not yet implemented the face pack, so they are going to have awful plasticky faces. I'm sorry about that. Eventually, here in a couple days, Toby 2's will be replaced with a real human face. But for now, my scout think he is a 1.5 star player and has a full 3.5 star potential and possibly up to 4.5 stars. And we have very legitimate talent. So I'm looking at this kid, and his physicals aren't quite there yet. You know, only 10 pace, 9 acceleration. But those technicals are very good, and his mentals are showing promise as well. Like, he could legitimately be a player if he can get those physicals up to, start picking up some yellow numbers in the physicals and start cranking those technicals. This kid has the real potential to 12 marking, 10 tackling. Yeah, no, he can very much be a center midfielder for us in the future. Fairly Sporting's kind of a bad personality. It's not great, especially coupled with his level-headed media handling style. I had to check that out. It doesn't offer much. Like, his professionalism is probably capped at 14. So I'd like to try and find a scout, a mentor who might have a good attitude to change that. But yeah, gets into opposition area, even like it. That's what I want for my players, my attacking center mids. So I think Toby 2's here has real potential to be a player for us in the future, assuming the save goes that long. Toby Lansdowne, the two Tobys, he's a limited player, but what he does is so good for a striker. 15 pace, 15 acceleration, 14 finishing, 10 first touch. His dribbling, I'd like it to be better. It says 7, but that's good. His composure's a 13. His positioning stinks. That's a shame. But his off ball's 10. Work rate's 15. He's gonna keep running for the ball. Tries first time shots. I like that as a poaching striker. Pressing forward, he's ambitious. It's a good personality. I think the two Tobys have real potential. And there's a bunch of other guys who, I signed everyone here in the good talents bin. It's unfortunately a lot of center mids and right wingers, with only one really true defensive player here in Joe Redmond. But all of them looked very solid. It makes me really wish we had a U18 team, because right now they just sit on my roster here and they don't play any games. What can you do? But so yeah, next year I will be very, very disappointed if we don't make a run in the U18 Cup. I'd have to. I wish there's a better filter that would let me, like, cut out senior level players. But yeah, we're sorting by potential right now, and Toby 2's appears all the way up here, ahead of some, like, legitimate players. Georgi Cekatani, Marko Maric. Those are players who are a key part of the team and key development pieces. They think Toby 2's could be just as good as them. Wow. Okay. So anyways, it's on to our game against Napoli. Home game, so we do have that going for us. No goal differential rule, so we just need to get one to take it to extra time, and then PKs, and 2 goal differential to win. Johansson's in goal, Maric is on the right, Nagankum's on the left, Zabibi's on the left. Nagankum is the defensive midfielder, Torres and Capoon as the center backs, Honor and Ozan in the center midfield, Moss, Garcia, Dudarev up top. Positive mentality. We will hopefully Capoon will be fit enough to play right back at the end of the game, as we slot either Hurleman or Marcos Torres into center back, as Maric is just coming back from injury and probably doesn't have a full 90 in him, let alone more if it's needed. Heavy rotation from the last game when we were playing Wolves, so we tried to play all of our quote-unquote lesser players. Still got the win, obviously. let's go out there and get revenge. Huh. Not as motivating as I'd think. But it was all defenders, and we got them with calling them out specifically. Decent run of form, draw, win-win, loss, draw. Sorry, draw, win-win, loss, win. And Napoli is on a bit worse form. Win, draw, loss, win, loss. They play a 4-2-3-1. Here we are in beautiful, beloved Salisbury Stadium, and Napoli will take the opening kick. Let's play it back to the defenders, then into their own Johansson in the middle. Zabibi contests the ball along the sideline, but they distribute back. Mikel plays a running ball to the running Satalo. Defenders running with him. Actually, that is Garcia, the left winger. Good cross, but into a bunch of bodies. Apparently, Sutalo is offsides. And Sutalo has now picked up a yellow card. Not a great start for Sutalo. We miss on the header there, and they make a brief threat, but a good sliding tackle dispossesses them. They do recover and make the cross, but Johansson makes the save. We are winning the possession battle, barely 52-48. Still early, we'll see how it changes. And they have made a substitution due to injury, so if the game goes long, that could benefit us. Ball's played forward to Moss. He heads it. Unfortunately, lands at the feet at Ozan. He doesn't really do anything with it and gets dispossessed. Well contested ball, so it just kind of drifts to Johansson. Hardy and Perez, so their left winger mid was the change. We will do the usual 20-minute, give them an encouraging shout. Ball comes back against us again. Torres, Nagankam, Onur up to Garcia. Garcia doesn't see any running room. Plays it back to Onur. Back to Nagankam. Slowly walking it up. I'm fine with that. Back to Kapun. To Ozan. Plays it out to Maric and up to Moss. Moss dawdles and plays it back to Kapun. They got a bit of a press on. Torres up to Nagankam. Over to Onur. Back to Torres. Onur. Nagankam plays up to Garcia. Great. Dude, you need to look outside and see Zabibi there on the edge. But plays across to Moss. Well done. Moss gets end line. Crosses. Dudarev. Goal. Sergei Dudarev with his 17th goal of the year for your Salisbury's Whites. Let's make it 1-1 on the aggregate. I had to offer new contracts to both Hurleman and Kapun. They were both itching for new contracts. I believe at least Hurleman was up in 35, so not this year, but next year. I believe Kapun might have been as well. They both had other teams on me about them. And I don't have a center back marked other than developing Marcos Torres. And even then, I don't think he's going to be all-world. I think he'll be a very functional center back, but I don't think he's, okay, well, this guy's going to be a god-tier center back for us. But with Juan getting stolen away, I didn't want to have to make multiple changes. So I paid out for him. Ugh. Unfortunately, I ran Kapun there, and Mikel made a very good play. Cross of Johansson's body. And we trail once again. Alright. Well, need to pack it up and get back on the attack. Kapun drives forward off the opening kick, plays it back to Torres and up to Nagankam, over to Onur, up to Garcia. Turns, looks for Zabibi this time, does find him, plays it forward to Dudarev. Oh, good shot by Dudarev, right off a defender who does get his foot in the way. Unfortunately, they do regroup to get on it. I do not like that attempt from Garcia. I don't know what he was thinking there. Plays it out to Kapun, plays back to Zabibi. Ozan just completely loses possession there. It's terrible. We had a bunch of players in flux trying to figure out how to get back to their positions because we had center backs forward. Like we were going to attack off of header, a lot of the wing backs. And I think some of the center mids were back defensively. And so just kind of a cluster as people were trying to mesh in and out and front and back. Garcia lays it forward to Dudarev. Dudarev tries to play a touch pass or a touch shot. Unfortunately, just needed some pace to actually sneak it past their keeper. Moss will take the kick, but nothing comes of it. Garcia does end up with the ball. Just dribbled himself right into trouble in the middle of 1,000 people. Come on. Torres, just terrible pass that's easily stolen away by Sumelia. Luckily, Zabibi does get in the way. We don't come away with the bouncing ball. Johansson plays it to far side. Napoli's a good team, but they're not. I don't think they're winning Serie A right now. So, this is frustrating. Obviously, it hurts not to be playing Petkov and be playing a wounded Maric, but that shouldn't be that much of an issue. Onur, Moss, Nagankum, Ozan, Garcia, Dudarev, Zabibi. Can the captain do something here? Passes into Garcia off a defender. Well, give us a corner attempt. Moss will take it again. Looking for Capun or Torres on the near corner. Torres. Nope. Looks like it's off the woodwork. 3 minutes of added time. Dudarev picks up a yellow card in that time. And let's go to the half. The midfielders are both on 6.4s. That's not great. We are killing them on XG, but XG only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. They're all motivated, other than Zabibi, who is focused. Best we're going to do here. Let's move the mentality up to attacking. We need 2 goals in the second half, and that's just to get more time and penalties. Maric back to Capun. Capun back out to Maric. Plays it forward to Moss. Not much space along that sideline. Capun takes a thing, plays it back to Torres, who then plays it to Capun. Ozan, just nothing from our center mids. They're just not getting themselves into positions to help our center backs there. This is not very dangerous. We blocked him up pretty well, and so Johansson easily made the save. Rolls it out to Capun, who plays it back to Johansson and plays it over to Torres. There we go, and Ur comes back to the ball finally. Ozan out to Moss. Bit of space. Moss on the run. No, back to Maric. No, back to Capun. Things have moved forward, but once again, deeper runs have been prevented. Garcia has the ball, taking it outside now. Zabibi's got an opportunity. Well saved by the keeper. Moss looks for a cross off a defender, and they come away with it. It's just frustrating as we get a foot in and the ball bounces wildly, and they come away with it and keep pressure on us. While we have a shot cross deflected, and they come away with it and immediately start moving it away from the goal. Out to Zabibi and up to Garcia. Onur back to Torres. Zabibi, Torres. Zabibi, Torres. Turns, plays it to Capun. Nothing's working there. Nagankum up to Ozan. Would have liked to see Ozan make a bit of a dribble run. There was some open space in front of him. Instead of he lumps it forward, and Dudarev can't get to it. I don't even know how to pronounce that dude's name. Auchi? Onur the interception over to Garcia. Garcia with a bit of a run. Turns, plays it back to Zabibi. Zabibi fires again. He's got some space there, but is our left back really going to be the one making these goals? Come on. Torres wins the header. Unfortunately, it springs wide to Perez. Luckily intercepted by, it looks like Garcia coming all the way back. Plays it back to Johansson. Plays it long. Dudarev's the only one there, though, so no real opportunity for us. We're in the 60th minute now. 2/3 are gone. 30 minutes left to get those 2 goals. Ball to Perez. Come on. Just terrible run from Zabibi, just letting his man get behind him. How do you not see that coming? He's outside of him and behind him. And if it's Capoon who completely misses his, or Nagankum who, no, not Nagankum, must have been Capoon who completely misses his tackle. Dudarev plays up to Ozan, dispossessed, and Marzucci easily saves. This is frustrating. Alright, we need to make changes. We're going to drop Nagan come back into Zabibi's spot. We are going to take Zabibi off, and we are going to move to a 4-2-4, essentially. We will obviously bring in Marin there up top. Play him as an attacking poacher. I need to check real quick. Okay, I'm actually going to swap their positions real quick, though. I want Dudarev as a advance forward, and him as just a poacher. We will, in fact, move Capoon outside and bring in... Maybe I'll bring in Marcos Torres. And... we'll take out Terzi. Both the center mids are on 6.4s. Johansson on a 6.3, but I'm not replacing him. We'll bring in Cekatani for Terzi. Let's give him a pep talk. Hate to see how they have the ball again. We are going to need one hell of an FMing to happen to the AI. Johansson plays up to Torres, plays it across to Torres, Nagankum, Garcia. Torres out to Nagankum. So we have 3 yellow cards on the pitch. Marin plays it forward to Ozan with a bit of a run. Unfortunately, blasts it over the net. And, yeah, they will take possession. And that's not something we can afford to have. Well, I'll say this. Maybe this will jinx us. Not having to show the quarterfinals, semifinals, potential finals of the Europa League means I have more choice about what to show here at the end of the year in terms of if we make Tudorev with a lunging attempt to keep it in play, bounces off the woodwork, to show cup final, or just I can show the Manchester City game if I want. I'll play it forward to Dudarev, has Sep, and launches a laser into the top of the net. Sergei Dudarev, 18th goal of the year. It does bring it down to a 2-goal differential here with 15 minutes to play, plus stoppage time. Nagankum into Garcia. Garcia turns, crosses, no one home, and ball being played the other way. Up to Mikel, but Capoon steps in. To Torres. Up to Cekatani. Cekatani plays it out to Moss, but Moss just kind of waits on it and gets intercepted. Prez to Aoshi. Uichichi. Nagankum, Garcia, Cekatani. Marin out to Garcia, making a run for the end line, turns in, Dudarev off a body. Nagankum does come away with it. Garcia starts bringing it inwards. Just passes to Johansson. Just well, let's see how this run of play goes. Nagankum back to Torres. Out to Nagankum. It's got bodies. Yep. Garcia. Back to Nagankum. Into Chekatani. Garcia on a run. Ugh. Stops his run. Dudarev passes to Ozan, who has a look and blasts it over the net. Ozan having a... Well, it's up to 6.7 from the 6.4 it was, but... Really, if there's anyone here, it's apparently Johansson on his 6.2. At least that's who the game wants to blame. Not there, Johansson. He's doing better than that. Torres lumps it forward to find Dudarev. Dudarev plays it forward, looking for Marin. Marin running. He is, though, going to be the first one to the ball. Plays the end line back to Garcia. Off the goalkeeper's hands. Moss is the first one on it. Plays it in. Ozan off of bodies. Johansson. There, Johansson gets it. And they're going to flag Capoon. Well, reset play. And that is functionally the ball game. Yeah. I'm just on this awesome run of play. We absolutely killed them on XG. You can see the graph. We just had pressure on them constantly in the second half. Couldn't break them down. You were fine, Fabio, though. It feels bad to be singling out a defender who didn't score a goal or anything. So, we are out of Europa League by, they're 5th in Serie A. That's a good team. But that's not a team that should just do that to us. I'd like to have made a run in Europa League to improve our reputation. Not going to happen. And to keep paying the finances, to keep paying for that Moss contract we just handed out. Yeah. So, we're already running late. Won't be showing the Fulham game. Hopefully we'll be playing and winning it. I'll probably record the Man City game. It could be key in the final run-up to whether we can win the Premier League. And hopefully I will have, say, a FA Cup final to show you. That will usually be at the end of the year after the regular season is concluded. So that it could be a nice recap for everything else. Fingers crossed. Thank you so much for joining me in the disappointment. I would love to hear from you, even if it's just correcting my pronunciation of the fancy French clubs who letters don't match their phonics in a way I expect it all. Tell me if you think how badly I overpaid for Moss. Hit the buttons that you can find on the YouTube screen, the thumbs up and the subscription and the bell. There's a bell. I don't know, man. Hit those things. Anyways, it's been good talking to you. I will see you again relatively soon, probably with a road trip to Manchester City. Hopefully that game goes better than this one. And I hope you have a lovely day or night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Goodbye.